How is it going, everybody? AB Rhombus here, aka Abnormal Rhombus, and guess what day it is? It is Friday, and you all know what that means. That is Vlog Time Friday. And I think I've got something of interest here today to talk about. But before we jump in, make sure you have a seat, shut the door in the room that you're in, put on your favorite ambient sounds, whether it's flooding water, flowing water, or jungle sounds, it doesn't matter. Put it on because we're going to get chill right now. We're going to relax and we're going to talk. We're going to have a discussion. When I look back at my past and the experiences that I've had, I tend to really focus on failures a lot and aspects where, I really wish I would have been the me I am today, but back then. And I really, think what the possibilities could be. I feel like I'm such a different person than the guy that entered high school. And quite frankly, I hate it, right? Because I feel like I could have contributed so much more to so many things had I been who I am today. And, that could lead to some regrets and disappointment. But, I'm really starting to think that maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Because we all tend to focus on failures and stuff at times. And kind of get ourselves down. So I'm going to give you guys some of my failures. Some reasons to laugh at me. Some reasons to joke. Some reasons to relate. Looking back, I think my first real, failure that I regret is probably basketball in school. My 7th, 8th, and freshman years in school, I wasn't very athletic. Heck, I wasn't very athletic ever, to be honest with you. I was short. I wasn't very strong. I wasn't very fast. I didn't have the mental toughness that I feel I have now from the experiences I've had since then. And, that kind of contributed into my basketball experience in school. I got cut from the 7th grade team, came back, played 8th grade, played freshman, and in all those times, I wasn't very good and my playtime showed it. I didn't get to play a lot. And I was thinking going into my sophomore year, I was like, okay, things are about to change. I'm about to get this new coach that everybody raves about. I'm about to learn the game of basketball finally and be able to contribute to a team and actually get to play. Well, we had our summer program, we had our, did our off season, whatever, and then we started practicing right before the season, and it got to be 2 games before our first game, or 2 days before our first game, excuse me. And the coach pulled me into his office, sat me down, and looked me in the eye and said, yeah, you're probably not going to play a whole lot, is what he told me. I mean, I don't know what kind of coach says that to a player, but that's beside the point. I was furious. I remember thinking in my mind, I'm going to work just as hard as everybody else and not get rewarded for it. I'm going to be the guy that sits at the end of the bench game in and game out and not get to play a minute. That's frustrating to me. Because I felt like I said, I was working just as hard as everybody else. Why is it fair that I don't get to play? So I walked back into his office the day before a game and I told him, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this team. I didn't point fingers or any of that. I just said, I don't want to be a part of this team. I've talked with my parents and that's just how it's going to be. And I walked out. I walked out because I wasn't going to deal with it again. And, at the time I had some regrets, right? Sometimes I wish I would have stayed. But as I look back on it more and more, I got more out of the game of basketball by playing pickup games with friends and family than I ever would have in organized basketball. The moment I started playing pickup basketball with friends and family, I was able to try new things and do things my way that may not have been okay in organized basketball just because that's not how the coach wants to do things. And I was able to grow as a player significantly more than I ever would have in organized basketball. And I had so much more fun. Through the end of high school, through college, and even through the first year or two out of college, I was able to play basketball at a level that I wanted to play at, with people I wanted to play with, and just enjoy the game. And when we look back on that, I like to think that that's a pretty big silver lining, and that I actually did make the right decision. It may look like it's a failure, but I actually made the best decision for myself. So that's something you got to kind of think about when you're looking back on, quitting things or not doing so well at things. The next failure that I think about when I think about my past is football in high school. I started football my freshman year, and like I said, I wasn't tall, I wasn't strong, I wasn't athletic, I was short, and I was light. And unfortunately, at the school I went to, players that fit that mold tend to be put on the offensive line and defensive line. I'm not saying it's like that everywhere. I'm not saying that it's always like that in the school I went to. But it's just really convenient to put players that aren't very athletic on the line because they don't need to be on the line. They just need to be strong and have good technique. And unfortunately, I didn't have either of those either. So I was a backup pretty much my whole high school career. I got to start one game. If I remember right, we won that game. But, many people would look at that as a failure. And even I did for the longest time. I had so much regret, disdain, frustration, anger, disappointment. For the longest time, I just had so many feelings because I felt like I missed out so much in high school on things that I would have much rather enjoyed and whatever. But I kind of got over it, and I started really just thinking if it was the best decision for me, and I'm starting to think that it was. Because I don't think I'd be the person today that I am if it wasn't for football to an extent. I picked up some skills. I shared some fantastic memories with some fantastic people. I was a part of a team that was one of the most winningest teams in school history. We won a lot all 4 years of my high school. And I got to be a part of that. I got to be a part of something special. So yeah, I guess people can look at that as a failure. People can laugh at me and tell me I know nothing about football because I was just a stupid backup on the offensive line. But whatever, that doesn't matter to me because I went through it. A lot of people did quit the football team, but I never did. I stuck with it, and if anything, I finished it. I got through it, and I'm a better person because of it. So that's failure number 2, which is starting to look like it maybe wasn't a failure after all. So I went to college at that point. I got my computer science degree. I was a programmer. And, I got my own place with my fiance and 2 dogs. And I started deciding that I wanted to take on projects to treat as hobbies and to advance, I guess, my career, to learn more skills and such. So the first project that I took on was a blog. I wanted to just write about whatever I wanted to write about, whether it was movies, music, sports, whatever. I wanted to write about it and get my opinion in on it. And, that's all good and everything, but I didn't have any web development experience at all. And those of you that have made websites that had never had web development experience before, you may relate because my website looked like shit. Oh my god. Imagine this. Just clear your mind for a minute and imagine this. Imagine a gray background with a gray banner with kind of dark gray text with dark gray just about everywhere else. It was gray on top of gray on top of gray, and I look back and wonder what the hell was I thinking. It was terrible. So now not only do we have this hideous looking blog, but now you got this guy that thinks he's a movie critic. You got this guy that thinks he's a music critic. You got this guy who thinks he's a sports expert. And I wasn't really any of those things. And I was really starting to realize that and realize how hard writing for something is and how knowledgeable you really have to be. Yeah, I watched a ton of football. Yeah, I played football. Yeah, I talk a lot of football. but I really didn't know a whole lot about football. I didn't really know a whole lot about basketball. So it got to a point where I was tired of looking at that nasty-ass website. I was tired of feeling like an idiot and not really knowing exactly what I was talking about. And I closed the site down, and probably for the good of the internet, I shut that site down. So a year went by, okay, and I have this new web development skill. Right? I didn't really make anything too successful with it yet, but I did have this skill. I did make something on the internet through programming. So I went with a different route this next time. I didn't make my next blog from scratch. Yes, it was a blog. I didn't make my next blog from scratch. I used WordPress and I kind of customized it a little bit. And if anybody knows me personally, they'll know that I try really hard to be a good guy. I try really hard to motivate people, to make people feel better about themselves. Excuse me. And that's just the type of person I am. And I wanted a blog to reflect that, because I can build people up all day. I can make people feel good about themselves all day. So why not make a blog on that? So I tried making a blog on that. And I don't want to say the title. I really don't want to say the title. But it was called Fear No Goal. Yeah, get your laughs out now. I'll give you a second. It was called Fear No Goal. And I had like 30 some articles on it. I had started a book. I was well on my way. And then about 2 months in, I ran out of stuff to say. Because let's be honest here, you can really only motivate people so much. And that's kind of what I ran into, and I just ran out of stuff to say. And I was looking at a situation where I had another blog down the drain. So what am I going to do? What could I have learned from that? Well, I learned that, maybe I'm not as smart as I think I am. Maybe I learned that it takes a lot more dedication than I think to keep up with something like that. So, silver linings. It's the best we got when we fail at something. Silver linings. So now I'm sitting there trying to think of, how I want to spend my time after that. And I come across these beautiful things called creepypastas. And being a horror fan, I'm a huge fan of the genre. When you mix gaming and technology with the horror genre, oh my god, you sold me. Take my money now. Like, that's right up my alley. That's exactly something I would love. And, I made a YouTube channel. That YouTube channel still exists today. It's been around for 3 years. It's got 3,000 subscribers. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how well it's done. But the approach I took was I wanted to be different. I didn't want to do Jeff the Killer. I didn't want to do Slender Man. I didn't want to do Lost episodes that became super cheesy after a couple of them. I wanted to find the best horror stories, creepypastas I could find online and read them. And I did that. I put my own extra flavor in there. I got into the role. I put emotion, intensity, all that good stuff into these stories that nobody heard. And people ate it up. But I got to the point where I just ran out of stories. I couldn't find good stories that nobody heard of after that original 35 videos I made. And that's still up. I'm not going to tell you the channel. If you do a little research, you might be able to find it. But that prepared me for this channel, right? I feel so much more confident than I ever would have because of that channel. I'm on this mic talking confidently, talking off the mind. I have experience working with YouTube. That's another big thing. So I have video editing experience. It just all transferred over very well to what I'm doing today. Silver linings, guys. You're probably getting sick of hearing it, but they're there. We just have to look for them. And finally, my last failure that I want to share has to do with what I talked about last week. Now, if you guys remember, if you haven't seen last week's vlog, go back and check it out after this video. You'll understand a little bit more. But I had found a group of friends on a website called Huppet. And we gamed together for 6 to 8 months every night, and we had a damn good time. I wanted to help other gamers get that experience. But I wanted to see if Huppet was still around. But Huppet wasn't still around. And that frustrated me. I looked online for similar tools and I couldn't find any. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make my own version of Huppet. I've got web development experience. I'm going to do it. Let's go for it. So I spent 8 months designing a website, learning two new languages, C# and ASP.NET. And I developed this tool for gamers. I mean, it was completed for the most part. It was usable. People could use it and connect with other gamers. But people had beaten me to the punch. Other people had the same idea, except those other people had more resources. They had more people to help them with the project. I was all by myself, and I was quickly and more rapidly getting further and further behind the curve, and ended up giving up on that too. And all these projects have just ended up being resume builders. But I learned a couple new languages, and silver lining, guys. Silver lining. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to go down into the comments section and share with me some of your failures. Sounds mean, sounds cool, but I want you to share your failures and how you became better because of them. Let's pick each other up today. Let's make each other feel better about our past experiences, and let's make our future experiences so much better, because that's who we are. We are people made up of various experiences that have molded us into the people we are today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I hope you guys share your experiences in the comment section below. If you want to be a part of the Rhombus Rebellion, which I know you do, click the subscribe button below. We'd be happy to have you. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up so that other people who, may not be able to find this video may be able to find it just a little bit easier. So thanks for hanging with me. Stay tuned for more vlogs next Friday, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.